All right, recording is in progress. And we're going to screen. All right, here we are. Okay, furniture perspective with marker rendering. Before I do that, I wanted to show you in the syllabus and schedule section, I created a more detailed weekly schedule. I updated the syllabus to put that weekly schedule into that big, long, more than 10-page document. But here we have just some stuff about what we're doing in these different weeks. It does include when things are due, but it just goes into a little bit more detail about what we're doing. For example, review perspective drawings of furniture. I will later on show you a little bit of like basic marker rendering. But that's something that we're going to be working on next week when we finally get to meet in person, unless there's another dumb snowstorm. And all right, actually, every semester I have to keep updating this thing. Just a moment, Dennis is getting into something. Going to stop the. All right. All right, so today we are going to talk about perspective drawing, like refining perspective drawings. And I'll show you a little bit, just like, how to create a little mini architectural interior for the piece of furniture that you're working on. Okay. Assignments. Okay. So the furniture perspective drawing with the marker rendering is going to be due the 5th week of the semester. That's in 2 weeks. All right, so part 1, we're going to work on this as an exercise with this Seska chair by Marcel Breuer. And I want you to draw 2 furniture objects, 3 views per object. The Seska chair is not included as one of them. So 2 different objects. I have links here to my Knoll website, Herman Miller website, as options for places to look for furniture. A lot of Knoll and Herman Miller. I believe Herman Miller just bought Knoll last year. But here, if you're looking at living, they have a lot of their classic, like mid-century classics, which are really the things that I would want to draw. And you could even start with a simple thing like a bench or ottoman. And there are so many things. Florence Knoll herself designed a lot of these things. This very cute tufted bench here. Just 2,860 to start. 1954. Very modern. Oh, hello.
Are you sharing your screen?
Oh, am I not? I am not sharing my screen. Duh. That would probably.
I just didn't know if it was just me or if
Well, thank
anybody
you
else
for
couldn't
telling me.
see.
I for some reason I stopped the screen share when I went to see, stop Dennis from going into the kitchen cabinets. All
Oh,
right.
there we go.
So now this makes a whole lot more sense, doesn't it?
It really does.
Thank you, Danielle. I just sometimes I just get ahead of myself and I'm not paying attention. Um, so now you could spend. I sometimes I get stuck on Noel's website and I just like, ooh, look at that. And I kind of think like, could I afford? Like, can I? Should I spend that money? I'm thinking, no, no, no. Boys need new shoes and all that. Um, but something like this, you might choose one that has a little better contrast with that steel um, frame and legs. So something like that just can be helpful to see it better. Um, so this is, and something simple like an ottoman like this is a perfectly good thing to start with because you might think like, oh, that's too simple. Wait till you try drawing it in perspective, and then you can decide how simple it is. It has this tufting. This will challenge, give you a little bit of a challenge, which is always nice to do. And so, like if you when I'm sharing my screen to demonstrate the drawing of this in perspective, I suggest you go to, so here, I can show you this now that I'm actually sharing my screen. The link here for the Knoll website is what I click to get to here. Come on, my mouse is really clumsy today. So here, Knoll living. I can just come down here to benches and ottomans, or ottomen. And then here I am down to, and I chose this Florence Knoll bench right here. There you are. And then there is my nice dark blue. This is the Crossroad Ocean color. And here I actually have to say I like the upholstery types. Which you cannot really tell all the time. Yeah, I can't really tell. Some of that you can tell is a little bit coarser of a weave. They don't all come in the same colors. There we go. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. Okay, this is the one I'll buy. Yes, this is a cat bed, is what this would turn into in my place. Now, when I'm doing the demonstration drawing, since I can share either this screen or I can share the screen of my tablet. Go to the Knoll's website and look at this while I'm drawing it so that you can see. Okay. Okay. Why is that? This document is called 12 Rectangle Compositions. Okay, that's misnamed. Okay, but back to the, so like here, perspective drawing, we're applying 1 and 2 point perspective to furniture objects as I started to demonstrate last week. 2 sets, not including the Seska chair, which is also going to be a, I guess this will be my first demo. I guess I demoed the Mart Stam chair, which was very similar. Yeah, well, all right. Well, I'll just follow my assignment here. We'll do the Marcel Breuer Seska chair, and then we'll do this Knoll bench. Okay. Ready?
Duffy, can you send us the link for the Knoll, just like in the chat? Do you mind? That might just be easy.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. It's a that is a good suggestion. That was a lot quicker rather than so roundabout. Now, all right. All right. Let's go a little further and we have this bigger there. This is, I tried buying a like specific holder for the iPad that would clamps to the edge of the table, and it works kind of, except that the iPad's heavy enough that it just kind of moves around. It kind of like shakes a little bit when I'm drawing. So this do-it-yourself rig works better. Really does work better. So okay. So the Seska chair, which is really like similar to that Mark Stam chair that I demonstrated last time. Where's my screen? There you are. All right. So setting this up, as always, you want your horizon line is your imaginary eye level. See that? Pencil. All right. 2 point. All right, how do I start a 2-point perspective drawing? I'm just going to draw like a basic box that this object fits into. You tell me. Anyone remember?
With a vertical line?
Yes,
Or,
thank you.
okay.
Exactly, a vertical line. And it's because you see the corner closest to you. All right. So now here I have a chair. Scale. Here's my line. Freehanding is really great to do, but I find that as you get closer to the horizon line, it's harder to make these edges accurate to the vanishing point. All right. Now, also beware if you start using your like a straight edge to draw vertical lines, and you're not, like you can see that's not parallel to the edge of the sheet of paper. My drawing is going to start getting goofy looking. So if I, like here, you could either measure from the edge in a couple of places, or just, probably what I should do, stand up and look at your drawing, because when I'm sitting and I see this at an oblique angle, I don't see it very clearly. I see it with a distortion because of the angle. So when I'm drawing and I'm sharing my screen, I can look at my computer monitor and see my tablet on the screen, so I can see. That's how I was able to see that it wasn't straight.
Would it help us at all if we drew on like graph paper?
It might, except that I guess for vertical and horizontal, yes.
Yeah, I don't mean for like the chair or bench or whatever piece itself. I just meant for getting in the habit of learning to draw straighter lines and
Um,
that type of thing,
oh yeah,
and then drawing within that. I just wondered.
it might help you.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I could also see where, you know,
It could mess you up, yes.
well, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we could get someone could get the wrong idea and think that you're supposed to just draw diagonals across the squares too, and then nothing would be right.
Right.
But you're all intelligent people. I guess I can, maybe I should just, well, that's another option. All that. Is it? And I have so many pencils, and then sometimes it's like, where's the one I need? Why isn't it right there?
So I have a question.
Yep.
How exactly, for us being new at this, determine the depth of that object or an object?
That is a great question. Because you don't really know. And so I guess you do it by sight, like this. So I guess if you were to try to do this and determine the depth, or like, are these proportions accurate? I think I got an error in here somewhere. Like I would probably have to draw this out and then like check, if you check out this, like the rectangle that's drawn for the base of the chair, I would have to just like look at that and see, like, does this look like it's the right depth to be this chair? And it looks like the seat's a little wide compared to the back, maybe. So I guess the answer to that is that I'm going to have to make this taller here. Sometimes you've got to start by drawing something, and then you use your judgment to decide if it's the right proportion. Because this looks too deep from like here to here. I think it's like there. So I mean, it's a good question, because when I draw, like when I just establish like a vertical here and a vertical here, so if the chair is facing this way, that's the width of the chair, and then this is the depth of the chair. It's pretty arbitrary. So, and I would encourage you to use that process, but understand that you should be watching out for whether or not your initial guess really is accurate. So like that. And this corner is bothering me because it's on push it a little higher. That. That. That's better. Yeah, I think initially I just made it too wide and too deep at the same time. This the leg curves in. Like that. There, just make this bigger. Yeah, so this is like my initial sketch here. I'm gonna pay attention to some details like the seat is actually set back a little bit. You can see the frame, the leg curves in, and then you get the seat. It actually sticks out farther. This is going to be a mess. But you know, this is bigger here. Try to get this close enough. So I think like here, I want to bring in the like if this is the outer edge, this is the inner edge, and then I can curve the inside of the leg. And then straighten it, maybe. Better. All right. So once I draw my, like these edges accurate to the vanishing point, then when I'm doing the detail, I can just follow them. I don't have to keep checking. As long as I know I drew this correctly at the beginning, then I don't have to keep checking when I add detail, like adding volume. Okay, this curve right here, this has to come down. I have to move this a little bit. Okay. Just round this off here. Up to there. There. Right. This is starting to get like farther back than the back of the chair. I think that means I should push this back farther, and this actually does stick out. It doesn't just go straight up from here. That pushes out past the back of the chair. Mm-hmm. And it would be like in there somewhere. Good. All right. This corner cleared out here. So I want to show the volume, like the height of the seat frame. It does kind of go in a little bit, and then this caning for the surface of the seat in the back. I would probably do something like this. As a way to start this in perspective. Gives you the idea. I mean, really what you see is like these little openings. So I can maybe try to follow my little grid there. So this kind of thing, this like detailing like this, as long as it's approximately correct, it can be done fairly quickly and be effective. Yeah, that should be a little more even. Maybe I'll slow down just a little bit. Same number of dots. I'm just trying to get them to line up. That's I think what I'm going to do, try to fix that, is to lighten it a little with the eraser. All right. Down a little bit. There we go. Your friend, the marker that you're going to get to know soon, over graphite will kind of smear it and make it more uniform. More solid. That blue is coming from the first pencil that I picked up here is actually an ink pencil. We're going to need to use that, so some of that blue is going to come from that. The one reason why you have these grays, I think this is a really light gray. This is actually N1. I recommended that you get N0, N2, N4. I just happen to have this one. The reason to have grays is that you can draw with them normally and just get something that's light. So you don't have to try to make it light. Now here, I need a little extra on this edge. Oh, well, what in the world are you doing? That's better. All right. Bring this in. Like that. All right, so it's sketchy, a little bit messy because I was figuring it out. But that's a review of the, this is Seska Chair. By Marcel Breuer. Modernist extraordinaire. Oh, can't see that. Now you can see it. So let's say there's another one sitting here. Let's say it's sitting next to it at the same depth. One point perspective, though. Let's put the vanishing point there. That box is too chunky. So I need to improve the foreshortening of this. Cutting off this front some. All right. So in this case here, I'm starting with a cube. I'm putting it right next to this one, so I'm kind of lining it up with where this one has its edge, where the edges are. I'm going to put this up here and draw it as if we're seeing it from behind. So first, I'm still just drawing it this. At the way I've drawn it here, this could turn into a whole lot of different chairs. So just a basic thing, like this basic box with just rigid straight edges is a good way to begin. Pencil here. Okay. All right, so in this case, so for this one, I'm choosing to draw it in 1-point perspective. Instead of starting with the corner as I did with this chair in 2-point, I'm just starting with like a flat rectangle that's facing me. And I'm only using this vanishing point. I just ignore these vanishing points for this one view. These horizontal edges, I want them to be parallel to the horizon line. And then the receding edges, like the edge of the side of the seat, goes to the vanishing point. And then like, this is again, I'm approximating the depth here. You usually can see it, like if this plane for the seat of the chair looks like it's too deep or too wide, you usually notice it. And I noticed that initially I drew the initial cube way out here, but that just made it look like it was too deep. So I changed it. I just kind of changed where the vertical edge was. I'm going to put this, okay, another edge along the bottom to create thickness for the seat frame. And okay, there. 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 So following where the steel goes for the legs and base of the chair. Nothing under the back of the seat here. So it looks kind of like that. So, go ahead and make your drawings look mechanical and more rectangular than they really are at first, just so that you can control it. Then you'll come back and just try to like soften this. Some of these curves here are going to be tough because there's not much between like the vertical and then the angle to the vanishing point. Where you have a right angle in perspective, here you really barely see. You don't see that much of a difference. So you just do the best you can. There. Back. See that this comes up. Here. Yeah, my drawings, I think anytime I'm drawing something and trying to figure it out, the drawing is pretty messy. The drawing can get really messy as you're going through that process. That's okay. This surface of the seat is in perspective, and so if you're drawing like lines for the surface, they need to change direction. They're all going to the vanishing point, so they need to change direction or change angle slightly from one to the next. cut in there. Okay. This is a challenging view with this piece of furniture. Bubbly. Okay. Excuse me. Let me see my yeah. So this, so something to pay to, I guess I want you to see. I've got basically the same design of chair here. There are some differences, like the back is a little smaller here. It's a little bigger, you know, like I'm not looking at this view, so it's a little harder to figure out. You know, in this case, I'm looking at this view. Mine is an approximation of it. It's not exactly the same. That's fine. If if you do 3 views, this you know, this is okay. Like the difference between this one and this one, I get it. So you can try maybe like softening some of these. You know, go after some of the details, make it look more like the first one that I drew. But they might not look like perfect matches. That doesn't mean that you can't turn it in. Mm-hmm. So you know, something that you know, when we get into more marker rendering, you'll see that you know if you can make it look close enough to the thing that it's supposed to be, it's usually all right. Now this. Come on, stop doing that, dummy. So the light seems to be fluctuating a little bit. All right. Yeah, it's a little. Right, I'm just going to correct this right here. Just put it in there just as angled as it was before. That happens. You take something out and then you go to redraw it, and your brain just says, "Oh, we'll just put it right back where it was because it looks good that way." Okay. Some of these corners a little better. That's better. All right, then one more view would give me 3. So I think this is a pretty good share to practice with, similar to that Mart Stam share that we looked at that was nearly identical. Mart Stam and Marcel Breuer were both working in Europe in the 1920s and both trying to figure out the same basic idea. So I'm not sure I'm not sure which of them actually got there first, but they were kind of working on the same idea. Marcel Breuer in this country probably just gets more credit for it just because he came to the U.S. and Mart Stam did not. Mart Stam stayed in the Netherlands. All right. Good. Did that make sense what I just did here?
Yes, this is going to take some practice.
Oh, good. That sounds right to me. Yeah, I mean, I can show it to you all I want, but at some point, you'll see what you can do when you do it. Okay. Put a piece of here. Measure. It's a 9 by 12 sheet. I'm going to go 4 down from the top. 4 down. That long edge. Okay. All right. No bench. All right, so now here's something that you can just will be helpful practicing. Yeah. The vertical. I think if you're doing this, some of this freehand can help you to learn better control with draw. I find that if they go like not super fast, but if you go slow, it's really, I think it sometimes is harder to draw something accurately if you're being really, really careful. So I want these lines to look clear and confident. Now this one I'm gonna use the straight edge to get this one. That's a tough angle right there from this corner over to that left vanishing point. It's gonna flatten out a lot. I see it often that like the line is drawn like up, like like an angle kind of like that, because sometimes I think that this really flat but accurate angle down here, it's just hard to believe it when you're doing a drawing like this. So, and then for this, the fourth leg is going to appear down here. If I say this is where my leg comes down, about like that. That's good. And then this, if you go up here, it should just like join, like hit it right where these two edges cross on the back of the top. And looks like it does. It's right there. That's down there. That's close enough. All right. Good. Still boxy, and that's okay. I'm going to put in, maybe I'll just like clean up this edge with the straight edge and then come down a little bit. Just rotate that off the, it's too small. There. So I want to put a little extra, I'm going to put a second line down here to get the thickness of the frame. There, and then from this one, there, this guy. I'm going to have to show. Verticals are nice and straight. I'm just going to do this from the edge of the sheet of paper. This is right about 4.5. So if you measure from the edge and you get two marks that'll allow you to line that up parallel to the edge of the sheet of paper, that's a pretty good idea. So here, 5.5. There. Right? Right, and anytime I'm drawing this and I see that, if I see that something doesn't, like an edge doesn't look right, like even though I measured, if these edges look like they're slightly off parallel, then I'll just try to redraw them until they look enough like each other so that it looks right. Because you can always make errors. You always will make errors. All right. So the edge of the thickness of the cushion here kind of puffs out a little bit. So that's why there's a little curve there. There's a little curve here. But don't go too, don't make it too strong. It's not like it's not that curve. It's just a little bit. Something like that. How many do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? So there are like 5 buttons here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can approximate to be. Okay. Now the buttons, I really don't see the buttons. I just see the depression formed by the button. Let's line up going to the vanishing point. There are 3. Ooh, wow, this is challenging. Interesting. I think my bench is not quite deep enough this way because I can get enough buttons. So I'll just change it. Maybe change it a little bit more. Yeah, I don't really want to go any further than that one. Okay. So so now here's a secret about drawing the sort of like tufting from this button upholstery. As long as it looks about right, you don't necessarily have to have the exact number of buttons. That's 1, 2, 3. There's 15 of them. It's 3 by 5. But if I start like here, if there are 3 rows of them going to the right, that will be really foreshortened right there, and then you can just say, like, if this is where the button's at, you can see that one. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so I'm using a harder pencil here so that it's sharper. So like an HB, like regular number 2 pencil, made sharp. Oh crap! Don't let your straight edge shift while you're drawing. It's not optimal. Yeah. Yeah, so you can see the foreshortening of all of this is really, really, really flat. And that's just the way it looks. Now, you can see there's a bit of a curve from a seam right here. That kind of like curves a little bit. Yeah. Definitely, and then there's this seam with a ridge to it. That. This is challenging. It's, oh, come on. Stop that. Sorry about that, folks. Kind of tough to keep this in focus sometimes. It's better. See what happens with the depth here. I'll move that. And I move this edge farther to the left here. And move this corner altogether. Okay. Yeah, using like a clear triangle would be better, so that I can see through it and keep my edges more parallel. Now this leg in the front, let's see, left side, right side. And watch out for this. You don't want these legs to kind of like flare out, like kind of like Gumby's legs, if any of you know who that character is. So far, yeah. I'm getting there. Slow, it's slow, you know, and I'm doing this bit by bit so you can see what's happening. Now this right here, this leg, there is a, you've got vertical, let's see, I'm showing two surfaces of the leg, and this little short edge goes to the right vanishing point, that goes to the left vanishing point, so right there, that's what I want to do. Right. This looks a little quite parallel, so better, better. So all of this, I'm just trying to get these little tiny legs to look like they're the appropriate, like, thickness of steel, like that. Right, this is good. This actually be better because it's going to make this leg a little longer. I don't know what happened when I changed something, and I'm going to use this corner, this coming from the vanishing point, showed me that leg was drawn too short. Made some correction, but I didn't correct it there. So that just means I'm going to bring this leg down. There. Okay, better. You can see a little bit of reflection of something in the photograph, like, you know, there's something sitting to the left of the bench. that's reflecting some, giving it some dark reflection. I might just initially not worry too much about the effect. And this has little circular foot on it that you will draw as best you can. It's really tiny. This has to come down. Just a little more. Oops. Good. No, the depth of the interior of this leg, once I've established the dimensions of this leg on the front, the way that would work is from the corner here, it gave me the depth of it up to there. So you can see that that looks, you know, I want it to look thin. I want it to, you know, if you looking at the photo, you can see the legs are pretty thin. So I want to be careful I don't make them look blocky and inaccurate. Okay. So the top, like the seat of this bench, being foreshortened to this degree, you can get away with an approximation of it. The view I see, like I'm looking at this on the Knoll website, my view in my drawing right here is not the same view as the photographer had when taking that photo. So I'm relying on my perspective drawing, not trying to make it look the way it looks in the photo. Because if I try to make it look in the way the photo looks, I would have to angle this up and not go to the vanishing point, which would be wrong. All right, so I can see there's like a little bit of like with this tufting, there's like a little bit of like a roll on that back edge. And then also here to, oh, watch out. The corner is actually, I see like this thing came down. Just leg in there. Draw that here. There. So the back, so that actually, that just kind of, I got a little impatient and I started making that up. But it's not in exactly the right spot. So with perspective, you don't usually have to guess. You can just find where it belongs. I'm going to bring this down. Now this is the, actually this was the inside of it. But here, as long as this is close enough. There. Now with this fabric, with this like kind of like a it's contrast, and you can see it's like it's a coarser thread and more open weave, and so it's kind of see the direction the material's going. I'm going to keep these along this side in perspective. Yeah, it's getting there. I think a little too much contrast. Let's back in here. Shade with the side of the pencil. Settle it down a little bit. That's good. That's better. Just a little bit there. That's good enough. Sit here and goof around with some of this detail. Want to. Some shadows coming out of that depression where the button is at. It's a little tough to get that all that detail on this very foreshortened surface here. Now it's a little too much contrast. I'm going to lower that. tried a little too much there. That is good. Excuse me. Did that seem pretty clear? What I did there?
Yes. Difficult, but clear.
Well, good. And I know that watching me do it, so like, oh yeah, I get it. And then you doing it is a different experience. So, practice. We're going to have a break here